NFL Week 15 coming up. Philadelphia Eagles playing host at Lincoln Financial Field in South Philadelphia to the Las Vegas Raiders. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles. Now, my name is Chase Senior, and coming up, an Eagles-Raiders preview, two of the most passionate and intense fan bases in the National Football League. Two organizations, though, on different trajectories, especially with recent history. Raiders since the turn of the century, one of the worst teams in football. The Eagles since the year 2000, one of the best organizations in all of football. But still, I'm excited for this game. Kickoff set for Sunday, December 14th, 1 p.m. Eastern at the Linc. I know Eagles fans are frustrated, but you know they're going to fill the joint. It's been a long while since the Eagles have had an early game as far as that 1 p.m. Eastern window. And look at this. Philadelphia, 11-point favorites. They were touchdown favorites against the Bears, and they lost. They were decent-sized favorites against the Chargers. They lost. Will Philadelphia finally cover a number? We will see. The over-under for this game is laughably low because of the Raiders' offense, and this Eagles' offense has been mediocre to bad all season long. It's under 40 at 38.5. Before we dive into our preview, the best one that you'll find here on YouTube, a programming reminder. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily Eagles coverage, but also we go live for every single Eagles game. So join us for an Eagles-Raiders watch party. And this is a reminder to hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications. Therefore, anytime we do go live, you'll get that push notification so that you can join us. My overall thoughts on this game. If the Eagles lose against the Las Vegas Raiders, it will be an unmitigated disaster. The Raiders, I think right now, are the worst team in the NFL. And I think for Philadelphia, this is a game where it needs to be a get-right game, but you also need some style points. You need to look good to get the confidence up of your ball club. And with 4 games left, that is a month sample size before the NFL playoffs get underway. That is plenty of time to figure out some of your issues. And coming off that Chargers game, I'm a little bit encouraged by what the Eagles did with some things that they accomplished offensively. So Philadelphia has an opportunity here to turn it around now. And I think the biggest thing with this offense, they're playing tight. They don't believe in themselves. They're pressing a little bit, which is why you see mistakes, which is why you see execution issues, which is why you see some of these penalties. You go out there, you drop 38 points against the Raiders, and you win in a blowout, you start to feel yourselves going into the final 3 weeks of the year where you're like, yo, we won a Super Bowl last year. We've had a gauntlet of a schedule, but as the playoffs near, we've got an opportunity in a wide-open NFC to run this thing back. Major injury news here for Las Vegas, by the way. This news breaking on Wednesday that quarterback Geno Smith, dealing with a shoulder injury, is considered unlikely to start on Sunday. He will not practice today. Ian Rappaport again saying that on Wednesday, December 10th. That would put Kenny Pickett in line to start against the Eagles, his former team. I appreciate what Kenny Pickett did last year against the Dallas Cowboys once Jalen Hurts was concussed. He had that rib injury. He started that game, and he played pretty damn well in that first half. The Eagles blew the doors off the Cowboys, so much so that Pickett didn't need to play in the second half. So Tanner McKee played, he balled out, and then with backups, Tanner McKee beat the Giants starters in Week 18. And while Kenny Pickett did some nice things for the Eagles last year, if the Eagles lose to Kenny Pickett, it's over, man. It's over. I'm calling it a wrap. And even if the Eagles make the playoffs, they will not win a playoff game if they lose to Kenny Pickett. And this isn't good news for Kenny Pickett, who even indoors wears a glove on his throwing hand. It's supposed to be between 20 and 30 degrees at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday. So it's going to be cold, and small hands Kenny going to struggle to grip the football. Unfortunately, while we might get a Kenny Pickett reunion if he starts, we will not have a Chip Kelly reunion. He was made one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in the game this offseason when he was hired by Pete Carroll. He was fired a couple of weeks ago, no longer the play caller for Las Vegas. Of course, for the Raiders, this game doesn't have any playoff implications. They have 2 wins all year. For the Eagles, though, this game does have a lot of playoff implications. Now, they only have about a 1% chance of getting the number 1 seed, but there's still a scenario in which that is possible because they have the tiebreakers over the Rams and the Packers. But right now, Rams in that one spot at 10-3, Packers 2 seed at 9-3-1, Philadelphia the 3 seed at 8-5. I think they'll be firmly set there. If they fall all the way to number 4, that's obviously not good. And if the playoffs were to end right now, the Eagles would play the San Francisco 49ers, and I would not feel good about that game. I actually think the Niners could win it. In the NFC East, the Eagles up by a game and a half over the Dallas Cowboys with 4 games left. But with the Cowboys losing to the Lions on Thursday, and with the Eagles also losing to the Chargers, they have kept the door ajar for Dallas to potentially win this division. And the Cowboys are one of the hottest teams in football. The Eagles better not mess around. Some Eagles injury news. On top of that, Raiders injury news. Lane Johnson could return in this game. I'm recording this on Wednesday. Nick Sirianni said today he's not sure if they're going to have Lane Johnson practice this week, but they did not put him on IR, which means they thought that he could return perhaps this week or next week, and obviously Eagles so much better with him as compared to without him. We've looked at the record so many times. It is also unlikely that Jalen Carter plays. I know that when he got that shoulder procedure done, or shoulder procedures done, because he got procedures on both shoulders, he was listed as week to week. This is looked at as a multi-week injury for him, and he's had one of those shoulder ailments going all the way back to training camp. In scouting the Las Vegas Raiders, Geno Smith this season has been horrible. And if you listen to or follow any of the analytical nerds who were saying going into this year that Geno Smith was a top 10 quarterback, unfollow them. Never listen to them again because they do not know football. Geno Smith has never been a top 10 quarterback. He never will be. And this year, he was so bad in the lead up to that injury. What's been odd is that Ashton Jeanty was looked at as an immediate impact player. It doesn't help that the Raiders' offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL. It doesn't help that Chip Kelly didn't always give him the football as much as he should have. But he really hasn't done much this year. And this is why I hate the thought of drafting a running back in the top 10. You better have a good offensive line in place. You better hope that that player can produce all throughout their rookie contract, because if they don't, you're wasting a great draft pick on a position that is a little bit expendable and replaceable, because you can get really good backs in the mid to latter rounds, or even as an undrafted free agent, you can get good backs for cheap, and you're wasting a critical year of that rookie contract. This Raiders offensive line, bottom 5 in the league, some of that due to injuries, some of that due to there's mismanagement of Jackson Powers-Johnson, which I don't understand. They have Brock Bowers and Maxx Crosby. Those 2 players are studs, and Bowers might be the best tight end in football. Maxx Crosby, a top 3 to 5 edge rusher in football. Outside of that, not a lot of talent on this Raiders team, and on offense, they do not have a lot of skill position talent either. The Raiders so far, you take a gander at their schedule, one of the most surprising results of the season with where the New England Patriots are right now, with only 2 losses, number 2 seed in the AFC, is that in week 1, the Raiders went on the road and beat New England. Following week, they lost 20-9 to the Chargers. Then a 41-24 loss on the road against the Commanders. 25-24 loss against the Bears. 40-6 loss against the Colts when Indy was hot at the time. Beat the Titans 20-10. And then from that point forward, it has been ugly for Las Vegas. 31-0 loss to the Chiefs. 30-29 loss to the Jags in OT. 10-7 loss on Thursday to the Denver Broncos. 33-16 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. 24-10 loss against the Cleveland Browns. 31-14 losers to the Chargers. And then 24-17 L to the Broncos. That is 8 straight losses for Las Vegas. I mentioned earlier, it would be a disaster if the Eagles lose this game. You can see why. So who you got in this football game? I want you to type LV for Las Vegas, PHI for Philadelphia. Get those predictions into the comment section right now. Coming up next year on the show, I'm going to break down my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, what the Eagles must do to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. That's coming up here in a moment. But let's get to our sponsor. Today's Eagles Now is made possible thanks to our friends at Ridge. The Ridge Wallet 2.0, a phenomenal product that I've been using over the last several months. I have the carbon fiber version, and it might be the last wallet that I ever have to get because the Ridge Wallet 2.0 is made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber, but this thing is as light as a feather. What's also incredible, it holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and it's still thinner than my iPhone. So the Ridge Wallet 2.0 has been perfected over the last 12 years. Everything is better with it. It's 10% lighter compared to the older version, which I also had. Every gram matters in this wallet. They found the perfect balance, and they made it more modular with improved cash straps, money clips, and AirTag attachments. Over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. You can even get a wallet that features every NFL, Major League Baseball, or college team. This is perfect for holiday gifting, especially since Ridge is having their biggest sale of the year right now. Over 100,000 five-star reviews. That is proof that Ridge is a gift that people love to receive. Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and their game-changing power banks, all built with the same sleek, durable design. You'll find the perfect gift for every wish list. For a limited time, Ridge is having their huge holiday sale. Head to ridge.com/chat. That's ridge.com/chat. Use the code chat. Get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount they've given all year. That's ridge.com/chat for up to 47% off your order during their biggest sale of the year. After you make your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them the Philadelphia Eagles Now sent you. All right, let's get into this. Coming up here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, Chase Sr. here with you. Part 2 of our Eagles-Raiders Week 15 preview. I'm going to break down my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, what the Eagles must do to win, and of course, give you my prediction as I always do. Let's set the foundation by taking a look at how the Raiders stack up. This is one of the worst teams in the National Football League, which is why Philadelphia has to win this game, and they have to look good in the process. I need a dub. I need some style points as well. They are dead last in the NFL in points per game. Ladies and gentlemen, this ain't the 1960s any longer when Chuck Bednarik is playing linebacker for the Eagles. This is 2025. The Raiders are averaging 15 points per game. They are putting up 257.2 yards per game, second to last in the NFL. Their yards per play, 30th. Their third down rate, 26th. Their red zone touchdown scoring percentage, 23rd in the league. On defense, it doesn't help that they can't play complimentary football, but outside of Maxx Crosby, they're not that talented. 24th in points per game, 16th in yards per game, 11th in yards per play, 30th on third downs, 21st in the red zone. On offense for the Eagles, this is a frustrating sight. Highest paid offensive unit in the NFL. These numbers, unacceptable. 19th in points per game, 24th in yards per game, 17th in yards per play, 28th on third downs. Still the number one red zone offense in the NFL, but that number is tailed off. 9th in points per game on defense, 22nd in yards per game. They'll give up yards, that's fine. Don't give up points. I've always been an advocate for that thought process. 14th in yards per play, 24th on third downs. Number 4 red zone defense in the NFL. At times, Vic Fangio's unit bending but not breaking. As far as my keys to the game, top matchups to watch, look, there's no other way to put it. Jalen Hurts has to play better. And since the bye week, he has been one of the worst quarterbacks in all of football. Now, the offensive coordinator is not putting him in a position to succeed. He's not elevating him. But Jalen Hurts deserves blame too because he, as an individual, has not played well of late. 5 games since the bye, his completion rate is down to sub 58%. That's bad. 4 passing touchdowns to 5 picks, 3 rushing touchdowns, but he also has 4 fumbles, and he's only averaging 215.4 passing yards per game. He's the face of the franchise. He's making a lot of money. He is a championship player. He has an impressive resume. It's time for him to play like that, and I have belief and confidence that he can. He just has to put it together this final 4 weeks of the season. Key to the game number 2. I don't want to see the Eagles get scared off of what they did against the Chargers because Jalen Hurts had those 5 turnovers. I actually want to see them double down and do more of what they did against LA. And here's my thought process with this. I come away from that Chargers loss encouraged by what I saw from this Eagles offense. Nick Sirianni had more say. He was more involved with some of the Eagles meetings. I think it resulted in an offensive performance that the Eagles can build off of. We saw more pre-snap motion. We saw an increase in RPOs and design quarterback runs. I really liked how Philadelphia moved the pocket on a couple of occasions for Jalen Hurts. He looked comfortable on some of those plays. Kevin Patullo finally called more crossing routes. It's an easy man and zone beater, a no-brainer. Why would you not run those? And I thought that this run game was a little bit better. There were some wham blocks and double team blocks up front that led to Saquon Barkley having more real estate. And that's been the problem all year. I don't think it's because Saquon Barkley is tired from last year. I think it's because this offensive line has been criminally bad compared to what their expectations were and the talent of that unit. They finally got a little bit of a better push, but the blocking scheme was also better. And that led to a solid offensive performance that the Eagles can build off of. And this year, there have been pluses with Jalen Hurts. And I want to continue to see more of this, right? He throws a catchable ball. He has a great deep ball. When he wants to run, he's still a talented runner. The intermediate accuracy, pretty solid. And we know about the clutch gene and him winning a lot, playing his best football when the lights are the brightest. The negatives with Jalen Hurts. And we're seeing that during this 5-game stretch post-bye week, not processing well, getting confused by multiple looks from the defense, not always comfortable targeting the middle area of the field because the vision and processing isn't there. And those have always kind of been issues with him. Going all the way back to Alabama, he struggles at times to layer throws. The pocket mobility isn't great. The footwork and the mechanics just okay. And this is a negative with Hurts. He doesn't like being under center. The Eagles need to run more plays from under center because they've been a highly efficient offense when they do that. Key to the game number 3. I know that this might sound cliche, but this is a problem that has killed Philadelphia's offense during this 3-game losing streak. And it's a turnover problem. They need to play cleaner football because they have been turning the ball over at an absolutely alarming rate, especially Jalen Hurts in the last 2 games. This is a crazy number. Jalen Hurts has 7 giveaways in the last 2 games. He had 7 combined in the previous 26. As a team, during this 3-game losing skid, the Eagles as a team have 9 turnovers. They had 4 total in their first 10 games of the year. So Nick Sirianni always emphasizes securing the ball security, and forcing turnovers. The ball security has not been there for this football team. Key to the game number 4. I want to see Philadelphia's offense going back to being more balanced. They were not balanced against the Chargers. They threw it 40 times. They were not balanced against Chicago. Part of that because they dug themselves into an early hole. But I also think a problem with this Eagles offense over the last 3 games is that they are forcing the issue in trying to get A.J. Brown involved. And this was my fear, that they would try to appease A.J. and make him happy. Now, for him individually, his numbers are up. He's once again closing in on 1,000 receiving yards this season. He has looked great outside of the drops against the Chargers. He's producing, but it's coming to the detriment of the football team. I think the Eagles' offense has been worse off. And the Eagles as a team are 0-3 because of their offensive problems, while A.J. Brown has been balling out. So with A.J. more involved, this Eagles offense, I think, has taken a step back, and they've gone downhill. He'll look at these numbers, and he'll be happy about it, right? Because he wants to be more involved. He wants to be the reason or a reason why the Eagles are winning. Well, A.J., team isn't winning while you're putting up numbers. 8 catches for $110 against Dallas and a touchdown, 10 for 132 and 2 tutties against the Bears, 6 for 100 against the Chargers. That's great. He's number 1 during this time frame among all receivers in receptions, first in yards. He's the number 1 PPR wideout in fantasy football. But in targeting AJ and force-feeding him the ball, what has happened in the process? Less targets for DeVonta Smith. Less targets for Dallas Goedert. These are two exceptional players who, over the last 2 games, where's DeVonta Smith been? Shoot, in that Cowboys game, he wasn't really involved either. I want to see number 6 and number 88 more involved with this offense because it makes Philadelphia a better collective team. And that's what they need right now, is to be a better overall offense. Key to the game number 5. There are 2 star players on this Raiders team. Brock Bowers and Maxx Crosby. What Philadelphia cannot do is allow Brock Bowers and Maxx Crosby to ruin this game. This Raiders team has lost 8 games in a row. You lock down Brock, you block Maxx Crosby, you're going to win this game. If you let them go wild and crazy, you run the risk as 11 and a half point favorites to lose this game. Brock Bowers has been injured this year, still has 53 catches with bad quarterback play, 619 yards and 6 touchdowns. Maxx Crosby this year continues to be one of the top pass rushers in football. 9 sacks, 25 TFLs. He's also exceptional against the run. And if Lane Johnson can come back for this game, that'll be a fun matchup to watch. If he can't, Fred Johnson against Maxx Crosby, Jalen Hurts, look out. So predict the score. Las Vegas Raiders, Philadelphia Eagles, Week 15. Who you got? Give me that prediction, and I'll give you my prediction. This is the last time that I'm going to show any confidence in this Eagles team unless they prove me wrong. I think the Eagles finally get it together. I think they work off of that Chargers game, and they have one of their best offensive performances of the year. If they don't, I'm completely out, and I'm saying that the season is over. But I am clinging to some hope. I might be hanging by this string on my hoodie right here, but I'm clinging to some hope. Philadelphia wins this game, 33-14. Go Birds.